Good morning everybody and welcome back to the Custom Set Showcase, where we may have a deck or treat, but we still have plenty more other sets to take a look at. And today we're going to be taking a look at another LEGO Legend of Zelda set based off Tears of the Kingdom. And today we're looking at Z079 with 339 pieces, the long anticipated Seized Construct Knockout. So let's get into it and see what I have on offer you today. So as mentioned, this was Z079, the Seized Construct Knockout for ages 8 and up with 339 pieces. This set would retail for £29.99 Great British pounds, so about $30, and contains 2 minifigures and 2 brick-built characters. And the set is largely based around the fight with the Seized Construct at the end of the Construct Factory and Spirit Temple segment from the second half towards the end of Tears of the Kingdom. And this set not only contains Mineru's Secret Stone, but also has these two fabulous mech-style builds for Mineru and the Seized Construct, and these are designed to be super playable. So let's read that description and then we can open up the box. Step into the ring and face the Seized Construct mech to reclaim Mineru's Secret Stone. Let Link sit in the driver's seat and attach a variety of weapons to face your foe, but watch out for the extra set of arms and additional armaments your opponent carries. Be guided by wise Mineru to a quick victory between the fully posable mechs. And obviously this set is largely inspired by a lot of the smaller superhero mechs, but also making good use of our construct rings and taking some of the coolest ideas from Tears of the Kingdom, maybe not super well executed, but some of the coolest ideas from Tears of the Kingdom and putting them into LEGO form. And inside that box we have 3 numbered bags and 1 instruction manual. You might question why they're not separate instruction manuals, but I felt the builds were similar enough that kids might get confused. So 1 manual here, so no building with friends today. And opening it up sees that in bag 1 we get our charged set Link, as well as builds up Mineru. Bag 2 builds half of the Seized Construct, and bag 3 finishes it off, builds all of the accessories that we can attach to our models, gives us Mineru's Secret Stone, and our figure of Mineru, who we will cover at the end of the video. So let's jump into taking a look at all of the fun features in this set. So I think for me the first thing I want to start with is Mineru, and the biggest feature here is of course that Link can mount and ride this creature like a mech. He doesn't quite sit inside the torso like you might expect, instead taking from a more game accurate position, where you can see just over here that there are 2 studs for him to stand on. Cannot be seated, has to stand, and that is so that his head is in the right position above the mech. This is obviously built on a fairly standard core for a mech, instead being decorated heavily on the front and back with these 2 large dishes, one of which is printed, and then there is a stickered piece here in the middle on this 3x3 tile for the sort of detailed core. The energy that swells on side is represented with the dark turquoise colour, similar to a lot of the other constructs that we have, and you may notice this brand new piece that's rolling around. If you've been following the rest of this custom wave, you will know that this piece is not new, having been used in a large proportion of the custom sets based off Tears of the Kingdom, specifically featuring in my construct builds, the Steward construct and the Soldier constructs. And here it is being used as a decorative element. That means that it is not taking the structural weight. The structural weight is following very similar limitations to would-be official models. However, of course, with the custom mold, I cannot guarantee it 100%. Beyond this, the arms take the inspiration from the Doc Ock arms from the Daily Bugle, and they're also the same technique that we've been using on the Captain constructs. This means that while this mech has a lot of posability on the lower arms, it's really only safe to say that you would be able to move them up and down and around a bit, because I can't guarantee that those smaller hand junctions will be fully stable when swinging and hitting. There will resist some impact, exactly like you'd expect with a Doc Ock tentacle, but definitely not as resistant to play as some other aspects. That being said, I'm confident in the mech's structural integrity as a whole. The other big detail and the hardest thing to get right in this model was of course the face. Here the eyes are represented using a fairly clever technique, if I do say so myself. We're using a bar through a plate that has had a Lord of the Rings, the One Ring attached around the edge to sort of create this 3-layered effect, which is something we have seen before in other sets. This is nothing hugely new, but it allows me to recreate a lot of the fun details here on Mineru's face, including the third eye that's closed, being a yellow tile above the head. We've got some of the shaping around, and actually this head can be detached as well, so that you could pretend that you were delivering it to Mineru, as is the quest line in the Thunderhead Isles. There of course are 2 little controller like sticks behind, and that allows Link to control the mech, which is something that you do see in game, although they're not quite the right color for this, but this is more compatible with minifigures, which is important. And as mentioned, we've got more of the Zonai ring element around the legs to add a bit of bulk here, and they're using ball joints here, so definitely would be interesting to see how it would stand up. I'd definitely connect it to studs if it was me, but again, these mechs are mostly about play rather than display, so mockists would find a way, but kids would have a lot of fun bashing them around. Now, the other big feature here is there is included accessories with this set, and that means you can attach a variety of weapons just like you can into the fight, again, to Mineru or the Siege construct. Let's take a look at an example for Mineru here. We've got a spiked ball and a cannon so that you can shoot at the Siege construct in the air and give him a big whack as well, all items that you would find. And included in the set you get a spiked ball, 2 cannons, 2 fans and 2 rockets. We'll see those other 2 used in a minute, but of course they can be switched out and used in Mineru every time. One last thing I wanted to point out is that arms don't fully cross like they do in the shielded position, but you can sort of get posts, and it definitely looks like she's squaring up to that boxing music that we have. Let's take a look at our opponent now with the Siege construct, and you can see that normally he has 4 arms here. However, this can be changed out as 2 of the short arms, or like the arms from the first phase before they appear, are included, making great use of this minion hairpiece or plant stem in tan, which is actually one of the original colors it came in, so that's not a recolor, to represent sort of like the wire ends that are coming out of those nodules. And of course, again, lots of posability here with 4 arms, gives you a lot more options. You cannot mount a driver on this model at all. Obviously, he isn't driven in the game, but there is no seat on this one. And as I mentioned, this actually features the first recolor of the Zonai ring out of sand green into dark bluish grey, the only other colour it will be appearing in the showcase. This dish on the front here also has a print, a different one to everything else, and then nothing in the centre for this one as it is all goopy and so on, and that is represented here. And this one has a more curvier neck because this one actually can like sort of tilt its head side to side. Not something you can fully do with the Mineru one, it's mostly just about being a detachable, but the Siege Construct's head can sort of bend to the left and the right, showing a little bit more of a creepier design. Similarly, everything else is largely the same, so the bigger thing here is what we can attach. You'll notice that on the stomach, I will say, we have another attachment point, that being for a rocket, so that he could attach a rocket there and then fly up into the sky. We've also got 2 fans included so that he could hover there, and then plenty of room on our upper arms for cannons and such to attack Mineru, as you can see here. And of course these can be switched out. Now of course these aren't the only things you could attach, as if you own Z0077, the Ultra and Creativity Toolbox, you could attach various weapons and other Zonai devices that you get in that set. I mean, you could attach any enemy horn or other weapons from other sets too, but I think the bigger ones here are, so here's an example with a water hydrant and a beam emitter, and then another one here with a light, not sure what use that's going to be in the fight, but also a wooden board being used as a paddle smacker or as a shield. Again, just cool, more options for you if you combine the Ultra and Creativity Toolbox. That set has limitless uses. And of course, here's another shot of the Siege Construct sort of flying in. You can imagine kids sort of swooping them around and just having fun. I also drew this fun little art piece here. I thought this was cool, that features Mineru as sort of a blueprint sketch. I'm really proud of this model, and while I imagine some of you might have some problems with how it would stand, I just really like this image here. I think it's cool, and it's not my job to fix all of LEGO's problems, that's the designer's job. Instead, I'm here to show you what it could look like, and I'm really, really pleased with the look. If I could 3D print the Zonai element, I would 100% have this in real life, as this is one of my favorite sets in the wave. But let's take a look at those figures, because they are also a big draw to this set. So first up we have Link in his charged set. This is our third and final of the 3 elemental forms we've seen, the Ember set and the Frostbite set in the Lost Garandia Showdown, so the Fire Temple set, and the Legendary Stormwind Arc, the Wind Temple set. So check those out if you want to. But in the same style here, we have the dish piece recolored into light transparent yellow underneath his feet to represent the charge attack benefit of this suit, and he's holding 2 lightning bolts. We just got some simple leg printing, arm printing and torso printing, with the existing Link head mold, but this time with a hole in the front for this new horn attachment piece. So again, just one new mold here for this figure. I really like how this looks. I like the outfit in game. I think it's fun. So it's great to see here in Lego form as well, with a brand new head piece with the yellow ones. Probably a little unrealistic that we've seen all 3, but I like the idea of them being collectible across the dungeon set, so that's a lot of fun. And then our only other second main figure, although we'll take a look at the builds again in a second, is Mineru, and again in her human form. Some of you might be wondering why I chose to do her human one and not her ghost form, because obviously she's only ever seen in ghost form with this scene. it's just because it's a more interesting figure. People are going to want to have the character of Mineru, and this is how we can include her. Her ghost form is cool and all, but I think you guys would prefer that if we were going to get any Mineru, it would be this one over her ghost version. I feel like that would be a disappointment. And of course, her secret stone is included here, giving us plenty more of the collectible aspect. She's actually using a Storm's cape to represent her like floating scarf. This is the closest thing that Lego does. Yes, it's not a perfect shape, but I really like how it works for that. So it's actually, I originally wasn't going to include this, I was going to print it, but then Lego announced the Marvel series late last year, which had Storm in it with the cape piece. I thought they'd retired that piece. I never thought they'd do it again. So seeing that here gave me the confidence to use it, and she has a brand new head mold as to be expected, which I'm really, really pleased with. And then just some simple torso and leg printing, no arm printing because the skirt thing is in the way. Can you call it a skirt thing? Not so sure. And of course, as mentioned, the stone adds to our collect them all. We're still missing 2 stones. So still have 2 stones to appear, but this is definitely our 6th of 8 at this point. Go check out the other sets if you want to see where those were featured. The other 2 characters in the set were the brickbuilt ones we've been taking a look at all this time. First up, of course, is Mineru's construct, who you can just see here in drawn form. Took a long time to do this, but I just like having everything be consistent, so it will be cool to put her next to the other constructs. Really pleased with the shaping, definitely based around the existing Lego like mech core, but I really like what the new piece brings to the table, and the color scheme works really well. But I think mostly I'm just proud of the face because it was actually really hard to translate in Lego form. And of course here you can see what it looks like in game. I did not include the actual secret stone on its chest because obviously it's included in the set, so we can like say that it hasn't been fused. And of course the waist is a little bit different, but it is what it is. I needed the ball joints for the legs to work, so that is just the case with that. And then of course the other big one was the Seas construct, who is our 5th of the 6 bosses from this game that we're going to be covering. That does not include the final boss. And it, again, follows a lot of the similar core, but without having to worry about Link having a seating point. We were able to attach the other 2 arms, which you can see in his image or in the stub form, but here we've got them in their long form, and we're just using a variety of different color schemes between the golds and the greys and the sand green to show that corruption going on. And I tried to base it off the rough positioning of how it is on the model. So for example, the bottom ones are slightly more bluish grey, whereas there's one sand green ring on the bottom right arm because that shows up on the model. And then the malice is showing the same Doc Ock tentacle techniques, but using dark red polo studs and then black minifigure superhero pieces to represent the gunk in between. And actually I should have mentioned earlier, but the Zono rings can actually attach stud attachments in them. This has been something that's been on them since the beginning, and I included this as a function for the piece because of these 2 guys specifically, but it's not something we've actually ever used on the steward or soldier constructs. So yeah, a bit of a bad job mentioning it right now. And then of course the face, again, very similar design, but modified ears and just a different kind of drawing to represent that more decayed look. Still using the Lord of the Rings eyes. That piece has never been recolored, so it won't be here. But this time it is a red glow coming through with a bar piece in the back instead of the black one from the healthy construct. And that does it for all the figures, but as I mentioned, we've got a couple of group shots to take a look at. We have the 5th of our bosses lined up. We've got all of them here. There's of course one more boss segment from the sort of other dungeon before we get to the finale, but here is the Seas construct with all the other guys. I really like how it looks. And here is all of our construct families now that we have them all. We've got Mineru, Seized, and the Flux at the back, the 3 captains, the 3 soldiers, and the steward as well, although you get 2 stewards and an extra soldier 2, I believe, if you buy all the sets, but that's not really why I'm here. I'm just showing you the varieties, which is what's important. So very cool lineup. I think Mineru's construct is definitely, no, Steward's my favorite from this lineup, but Mineru is closely behind. I really like how she turns out. I do love the Seas construct a lot, but I don't think it came out quite as well as Mineru, not quite as refined. That's actually going to do it for taking a look at Z079, the Seas construct knockout, based off, of course, Tears of the Kingdom. And this was one of those 2 Wave 8 sets that I believe when we did the ranking in the tier list that I put in my top 10 sets that I've ever designed. And I hope you guys agree with me, really, because I think there's a lot to love here. It's a very unique concept. It feels very toyetic as a fight, and I think it's definitely something that Lego would love to tackle, or at least I would love to see them tackle, as it's one of those moments which I think just turns itself perfectly into a toy and features a cool robot, so you know, why not? But I knew from the minute I had the fight that I had to put it in here, and I also love the music from this track as well, so it just made sense and was a great opportunity to include other characters like Mineru as well. So, and then when it came out, I was again worried about shaping, but you know, it just came together, and I'm really, really pleased specifically with how Mineru turned out. So another one to go down in time, and yeah, it's not the perfectest thing in the world, but I love it all the same. But hope you guys appreciated this one, and let me know what you think of it down below and where this sits in your set lineup. We have 3 sets left. Next time will be the polybag in just a couple of weeks. And yeah, that's another very exciting one because we have another character that we've been missing for a long time. Then it's time for the final 2. I can't believe that by August we will have this done, 1 year on from when we started with the Great Sky Island, and we would have done another 18 custom sets. Then it'll be back to wave 4, of course. But let me know all your thoughts down below, and as I said, next time will be 82, codename T. For real this time. I know I promised it last time, but have a wonderful rest of your day. Bye bye.